Hello everyone, welcome to Matt the Drone Railways, and today in this video I'm going to be showing you how to service a Triang locomotive with the X04 motor installed. So the victim of today is this Triang Nelly. If you're a long time viewer, no, I haven't got the original motor working. This is a motor from a Ginty that's being worked on at the moment. So anyway, the first thing you need to do is get your screwdriver, as you can see here, and unscrew at the back. Now this one doesn't have a screw in it, so that's fine. Now with other Triang engines you might find one down the chimney and sometimes down the side here. So you just unscrew that and then your body should simply come off like so, and you can discard with the body. Now if you want to clean these, carefully, now this is only Triang locos, with a toothbrush, an old one, and some soap, lightly, gently, scrub it and rinse it under some warm water, and that will clean it right up. Or use something like a paintbrush or a soft makeup brush and dust it away. Anyway, discarding with that, we've got the chassis. Now here you can see the X04 motor. So if you don't know what one of these are, here it is. Quite a simple motor, very easy to work on. And in this tutorial I'm going to actually remove the motor and show you how to do that. And then it will make things a little bit easier to show you all the different components. So what I'm going to start off with is very gently pulling this little spring back and pulling out this wire. Be careful because you could lose the solder on it. Sorry, couldn't show you. So hold on to one of these copper bits on the other side, brass, sorry. Pull this bit back and pull that out. Next I'm going to get my screwdriver again, and I'm going to get this screw down here, and I am going to unscrew it. Like so, and I'm going to carefully put this screw somewhere where I will know where it is and what it does. Then with a slight pull up and a pull out backwards, I can get this motor out. Now this is the chassis. I'm going to discard with that for now, and then I'll show you later about wheel cleaning and oiling this chassis. So yeah, here is the X04 motor. You've got here your worm drive. These little brass bits, as I spoke about earlier, are known as brushes, and they press against this thing underneath that I'll show you in a bit, called a commutator. And that's all you really need to know, apart from these little felt pads in here. Your motor might not have them, because sometimes they've been removed, but those are there for oiling, which is quite useful. This is your magnet at the back, and this little spring and insulator up here. Now this is very important that it's covered over this springy bit, because then that prevents a short circuit, etc. So anyway, I'm going to start off with removing these brushes. Now it's very easy to do. I just need to go in like that, and you see that disengages them, and then they should drop out. Might even tap the top of them, and there you go, they are falling out, and this thing has come loose. Now I'm not going to look at that. I'm going to disregard with these brushes temporarily. So next up is looking at the commutator. So when I spin this here, it's this little bit here that is the commutator, and that needs cleaning. As you can see, it's a bit black and mucky. So the solution to this is using isopropyl alcohol and some cotton buds. So all I've got to do is open the isopropyl and dip the cotton bud into the bottle, soaking up some of the fluid, and all I've got to do is clean it like so. and you can see the muck coming off there. And basically what I'll do is spin the motor as I clean it. Now this motor has actually been recently serviced, and I'm only servicing it for this video, but you can tell even after a couple days actual running it's filthy. So I'm going to have another go with that with the other side of the cotton bud and make sure it's really nice and clean, ready for this Ginty, and another run with this Nelly. And there we go. It's very nice and shiny, and the cotton bud's nice and grubby. Now you may think that's it for the commutator, but it isn't. So basically on this commutator you have very small gaps. You have about 3 of them, and I don't know if I can find, there's one there. And basically all you need is a pin or sewing needle, and you get your pin, you get it just in the gap, and basically you slide along. This is because muck gets in there and gets trapped and you can't get it out. And you do this about 3 strokes per gap, of course wiping after each go. That one's fairly clean, so I'm going to go on to the next, and just to save time I'm not going to keep dabbing it. And final one, there's 3 on these X04s. So there we go, so that part is actually now done. Now as a bonus, if you want, you can get a file on this, as this thing on the top has this gives some well, this has contact, electrical contact, but in this video I'm not going to do that because it doesn't need to be done, and it's not urgent. So I'm going to put this motor out of sight, and I'm going to bring back these little brushes. Now yeah, these brushes have been in contact with the commutator, and you may notice after time the meat on these little pads here will die down, and eventually these brushes will need replacing. For now, on this model they are fine, and it's back to the isopropanol alcohol and the actual cotton buds again. Making sure I soak up some liquid, and all I've got to do here is clean this pad here. That's all that needs cleaning, and it will freshen it up quite nicely. I'm trying to do it in shot as well as concentrate, and you can see already, like I say, this has only done a couple lots of running, and it's already filthy. So I recommend you do this servicing process about twice a year, once every 6 months, to a year, once a year. Or if your locomotives stop working, sometimes this is actually what gets locomotives going, is a service. If you buy a non-runner, sometimes, not every time, I'm not promising that, but sometimes that is all you need to get them going. So I'm going to disregard with that cotton bud and the isopropanol again, and I've got these nice clean brushes. And one thing I can actually do, and you don't have to do this, but carefully with a screwdriver you scratch this little bit up in here, as you can see there, and this just freshens up the contact. So I'm not going to do it hard on to there now because I've done it recently, but that's what you need to do. Well, you don't need to, but if you want to do it, you can. Next is actually reassembling brushes onto the X04 motor. Now this can be a bit tricky, and it actually doesn't matter which brush goes on which side, and just spring it in there and hold it. Make sure you've got pressure on this one as you slide through the other one. That's really difficult to show you what I'm doing with my hands in the way, but basically you slide them back into place and it should look like that. So yeah, it's almost there. We've got a few more things to do, and one of those things is oiling. So earlier I said about these felt pads that are in the back here, and there's actually one just at the back of the flywheel here, and just made out of felt. And all you need to do is get a bit of oil, 3-in-1 or sewing machine oil is the best, and just put a little bit in there and in the back, just on those felt pads, and I'm just going to spin the motor a little bit. I've put a little bit too much on the back, but it's alright for now. It's well lubricated. So yeah, I'm just running that in there, and that is almost everything. Before we actually reinstall this motor into the chassis, I'm going to take the chassis whilst it's actually freewheeling. This is a benefit of not having a motor installed, and basically I have the advantage of being able to oil and clean the wheels. Cleaning the wheels is of course the advantage you gain after having spinning wheels. So basically, disregard with the oil and bring back that isopropyl alcohol. You can tell we use this a lot in this process. Now this also can apply to old Hornby railways, Triang Hornby stuff, but a lot of their stuff has motors in the tender, if it's a tender locomotive. So you may notice that has a different motor known as a ring-filled, and if you'd wish to see a servicing video on the ring-filled motor, then please do comment below. Anyway, I'll just clean these wheels and just, you know, rubbing it with isopropyl alcohol and just spinning the wheel. And there is some muck. Of course, you do this on every wheel. You need that the best connectivity you can. Which also brings me onto these pickups here. If you can clean around the back of them, the back of the wheels are best to clean as well. And yep, just make sure you've got good contact there. So once that is actually done, I've got to disregard with the isopropyl alcohol yet again, and put the lid on. Oh. And reinstall this wonderful X04 motor. So all I've got to do is put it at an angle and make sure it slots into the back, and it'll just go into place like that. So all I've got to do is put that screw back into the back of the motor, and it will slot into the chassis and screw into place. It's just this screw back there. I'm going to try and do it without my hands and that getting in the way, but it is quite difficult considering there's this magnet at the back that likes screwdrivers. Now also, strength of the magnet can actually affect the running of these motors, and some people actually remagnetise them or get brand new magnets for them, which is a cheaper option straight up, but in the long run it's probably better to have a remagnetizer. Anyway, that's all back in place, and all I'm going to do is get my wonderful oil, and I put a blob, not much, onto the worm, and then on the connecting rods, actually on like the crank pins, just a tiny blob. That was probably too much on that one. On all the crank pins, just a tiny blob. I'm just gonna wipe off the excess. There's some oil on that magnet, that's alright. And it's almost there. One thing forgetting is this first bit of wire we remove with this little bit of brush on it, and if I zoom in you will see it here. If it's wants to go into focus. Yeah, so all that needs is pushing your finger down on the brush, pulling that one back and slotting it into there until it connects. That's how I've got it, but as long as it's all in there, and remember this insulation clip is on there, and make sure you've got everything around the right way. For reference, this is how the motor should look with what side the insulation is and that extra pieces. So yeah, that's a good reference. And the final job is actually the axles, and you've got to oil them, help keep them lasting longer, and that's just your pin. And what you do is you damp a bit of oil on, which I shall actually do. Get a bit of oil, and what you've got to do is get right in there and just get some on the axle. I'm not going to do that all in this video because of course it's been done fairly recently. So anyway, that's done there. I disregard with the oil and the needle, not forgetting about that, because you don't want that ending up on the floor. And all I've got to do is actually fit the body back on. This is simple, just pop the lugs on the chassis into the body and press down on the back, and it's back on there, and you put your screw back in, but this one's not got it. So that is how you service a Triang locomotive with an X04 motor. I hope you enjoyed this fairly long video from me. If you did, please leave a like. If you'd like to see more, do leave a like and comment down below. Please feel free to subscribe, it helps the channel quite a lot. And yeah, hope you have a good weekend, and I shall see you all next time. Cheerio for now.